WWE Hell in the Cell is this Sunday, and actually a lot of matches on the card since last time. I think the only time we did one of these was actually one match on the card. That one match became two matches, but let's just see how much has changed in the past 2 weeks. Yeah, it's been a very very quick build to some of these matches actually, and well, that's doing that. There we go. Yeah, there's a lot more compared to what there were. So let's start off with the little kickoff, like we normally do. And the kickoff is not really a match; it is Mizdow TV with a very special guest, The Miz. For those who have not been in the vicinity of Mizdow or Damien Mizdow, basically it's the newest gimmick of Damien Sandow, who's had a gimmick every other week, except for when The Miz came back and he needed a stunt double. Thus, Damien Mizdow was born, with the exception of 1 week where we had Sheamus Dow, I believe it was called. It was Sheamus' stunt double, which was played by Damien Mizdow as well. What I don't understand is the crowd loves Mizdow. Why is Mizdow not in this title match? And why is The Miz in here? Basically because if the Mizdow wins, Miz wins. Or if Mizdow wins, then Miz wins, pretty much. It's basically Mizdow is the star, and Miz is actually the stunt double in this case. But, I mean, you know, it's interesting to see how Mizdow will do that. Will actually host Miz TV on the WWE Network, which, believe it or not, it's still $9.99. But well, let's go into the actual matches here, because Mizdow might have a play in one of them. We have the Bella Battle, Brie Bella versus Nikki Bella, where the loser must become the winner's personal assistant for the next 30 days, and if they refuse to do so, they will leave WWE forever. I don't get it. You know, since WWE has been calling each other bitches, all of WWE have been calling each other bitches the past few weeks, why can't the loser be the personal bitch? That makes more sense to me. But, you know, it's very interesting because neither of these matches, the AJ Lee Page match or the Bella Battle, as far as I'm concerned, or as far as I know, is in the cell. Which there's been rumors about 2 weeks saying this match might be in the cell, or the Divas title match might be in the cell. If anything, if I was to book a Divas feud with Paige and AJ, I would either end it in a last woman standing match or inside the Hell in the Cell, which we'll get to that a little later. But this feud, at first I liked it because it showed Nikki's personality. It showed Nikki could actually play a heel and play it well. I mean, hell, look at her. If anything, over the past few weeks, Brie has been the second fiddle ever since SummerSlam, and Nikki has been the star. Now, does this come to play in who will win the match? I don't really know. But if anything, knowing WWE, knowing that Brie Bryan has the Brie Bryan push going, it would make sense for Brie to win. But I'm going to go the opposite and say that although Brie gets her comeuppance, there will somehow be a reversal of the decision and Nikki will win. If that's how WWE works nowadays, I doubt it, but it could be possible. But if anything, I would not put all my eggs in the basket of Nikki Bella just yet. It would make sense to pick Nikki here, but you know, WWE can only have the authority or authority allied superstars and divas be on top for so long before you have an NWO effect. So, as much as I hate to do this, I'm going to go with Brie Bella just because it would make sense for everything that has gone wrong for Nikki to keep going wrong. I mean, if you watch Total Divas, Nikki is the star. Nikki is the star on Raw and the star on Total Divas. Now, is that to say that Nikki wins the match? Not necessarily, because they can use that to hype the show for next season. But let's go back to what we did earlier with Mizdow and we have the rarely defended United States Championship on the line for once. The network logos with the network United States title on the line against The Miz. It's Sheamus versus The Miz, and honestly, I would not mind having The Miz be the U.S. champion, just so we can see Mizdow hold like the toy Mattel U.S. title again. That'd be fucking hilarious. But I mean, he did it for Sheamus Dow, I think. But just the whole get-up, the whole Mizdow thing. If anything, Mizdow was on Raw last night and took over for The Miz. It would make sense for Mizdow to put the shades on him, so the referee cannot tell it is Mizdow, even though they have totally different hair color. But you know, in a match, your hair gets greasy and your hair gets sweaty and shit goes down to where The Miz might actually grow a beard. So possibly, he has one growing in the picture, so possibly during the match, The Miz might have grown a beard. This is probably Russo booking at its best at this point. Because why not have Mizdow be the champion? So, if anything, if Miz wins, it will not be via Miz. It will be via Mizdow. That is the only way this will work. Plus, it would make sense because Sheamus is not doing anything with the title at all since he's won the belt, besides defending it maybe once in the Blue Moon. I don't like the fact that the title is not being defended. It's basically a prop. It's basically not needed. So if The Miz wins it, it will bring back some continuity. It will bring back some legitimacy to the United States Championship. And back to the Diva thing, it's weird how they have it Diva, Miz, and then another Diva match. That's probably not the order of the card, but that's just how they have it on their little website here. And like I said before, the only way I would have this feud end would have this match be inside the cell. Now, WWE is not smart enough to put a Diva match in the cell because, quite honestly, back in the few years ago, there were Divas that could be in a cell match, like a Mickie James, like a Lita, like a Trish Stratus, Victoria, or otherwise known as Tara, or Beth Phoenix, Natalya. I mean, even Caitlyn, Eve. Caitlyn and Eve could have been a good match, actually. But this is the closest we will get to that if this match happens. I do not know if it will be a cell match. I doubt it. I would love it to be a cell match, though, because that way Alicia Fox would not be rendered into decision. For those who don't know, Paige has given up on her friend AJ and now has a new BFF in the crazy black AJ Lee known as Alicia Fox. Now, there is a rumor going around that Total Divas cannot win the championship while on Total Divas due to the shooting of the series and then having it shown at a later date, which is why some matches on Raw are confusing as to why Divas are thrust into a feud because of 1 week of Total Divas. It would not make sense for them to have a champion on there because then you're going to put the title back on them for when those episodes air. You know, it makes sense. How much I hate that, but why I hate it is the Anti-Diva. Paige, along with Alicia Fox, is in the next season, starting next year, or the second half of the mid-season. I guess this is the mid-season finale coming Sunday, and it would make sense for fucking Paige not win the belt. I mean, you basically made this easy. AJ will retain, unless this is a swerve and Paige wins the belt again, and then drops it in time for the season premiere. I doubt that will happen. So you basically just made my job easier. Thanks WWE and fuck you. We have the feud of the lifetime, which is the Rocky IV storyline ever since Rusev debuted. Rusev versus Big Show. It's all come down to this. It's American Pride. The Lex Express is back. I can't believe I botched that, but goddammit. You have that music playing, Start and Stripe Forever. It's screaming Lex Express. It's screaming that. And the Big Show will have the world's largest express coming down to fucking Texas. With gas prices nowadays, it's not going to work. But what I don't like about this feud is the fact that they're using national pride. It's one thing that we took away. Actually, it's not. You know, it's disgraceful that we took the Russian flag, pulled it down like Mark. I think it was it Mark Henry? I think it was Big Show actually that did this. Big Show took down the Russian flag, which is a disgrace. I mean, sure, it's cheap heat, for the face, which why would you give the face heat? I mean, isn't that the heel's job to do? Which they did. They had Rusev on Raw try to take down the American flag and fucking bro kick a fucking soldier, which we learned eventually by today was not an actual soldier. I kind of figured that out because I couldn't see an actual unit number on the uniform or anything of that distincting him as an actual ranked military member at anything. Air Force, Army, RTC, anything. Nothing is on that costume. It's hard to tell because it happened so fast. He kicked him in the face. But you know, for storyline purposes, you know, the soldier goes up and defends the honor since no one's there. Big gets fucking kicked in the face, and they cut the commercial for no reason. If that was an actual soldier, they would have stepped on there. They would have kept that on him. They would have probably fired Rusev if that was actually an actual soldier. But with this being said, I'm pretty much done with this. I'm sick of it. Because you're just using patriotism for a fucking cheap heat to help with the Lex Express because no one knew what the fuck was going on. No one fucking knew that Yokozuna was not fucking Japanese or whatever. People had an idea, but you know, it was fucking Samoan. You know, they could pass off as Japanese back then. Now they can't because everyone's a fucking Samoan, and they have the Samoan gimmick because they're fucking Samoan. Now, Rusev is not Samoan, but he has a Samoan Muay Thai wraps there on his legs. But basically, I really don't care who wins. If anything, if this was a real soldier, I would have just said it's time for Rusev to lose. It would make sense. But for you know, we've seen the accolade on Big Show. It's possible. So I am going to do the rare thing and say that Rusev will win this match. There's no way Big Show will win this. No one's beating Rusev. They're grooming him to be fed to John Cena. It's that simple. And this is one way to do it. Speaking of John Cena, Super Cena versus Randy Orton. This will be the piss break of the year. The winner will get a World Heavyweight Championship match against Brock Lesnar at a future date inside the Hell in a Cell. What that means is this match means nothing. This match is a glorified piss break, and I don't give a shit who wins. Because the winner will get killed by Brock Lesnar, and that's what I'm sticking to. On the other hand, the other Hell in a Cell match, Dean Ambrose and Seth Rollins. We had Mick Foley return. A couple weeks ago, we had The Rock return to beat up on Rusev. Now we have Mick Foley return to talk about the great Hell in a Cell matches. If anything, you would think that Mick Foley is the guest referee in this Hell in a Cell match. I don't think that'll happen. But what will happen is, either way, we have a great match here. But it would make sense. If booking makes sense, Seth Rollins will lose at Money in the at Hell in a Cell. Luckily, the Money in the Bank briefcase is not on the line in this match, because then I would say Dean Ambrose would win the case. But that's not possible. But Dean Ambrose will win. There's no way you can get into a cell unless you do the whole Kane thing, debut someone that can rip out the cell. And finally, I don't know why the fuck the tag title is last here, but I go right to left here, and that's what happens. But now we have the fucking tag belts here. Usos and Darn Stardust. It's simple. The Dust Brothers will retain because they just won the belts. That's simple. Now, with Hell in a Cell being this Sunday, anything can happen. And we just ran through them in like 15 minutes, like no problem. But the point here is, anything can happen in the cell. Anything will go down. But this is a glorified clusterfuck. I mean, goddamn. Why would you book this card? Why? Some of these matches here are good, but why would you book it like this? You know, you're just making matches on a card. This is basically a throwaway pay-per-view. Just if you're, you know, if you buy a pay-per-view, you have a big, you take a shit during the Cena Orton match. But that's pretty much it here. Hell in a Cell this Sunday. It's probably not worth the money, but you know what? Compared to pay-per-view, it's only $9.99.